and welcome to Gas It Out, the motorcycle racing podcast that when the flag drops, the talking most certainly doesn't. My name is Gavin Emmett and I am joined by Neil Hodgson and Sylvain Guintoli, as always. And we have got an exciting development coming this week, lads, in the sport. MotoGP returning to Brazil for the first time in over 20 years. The last time we went to Goiânia, the track we're going, was 1989. There's probably only a couple of people left in the paddock from those days as well. Even Neil Hodgson wasn't racing back then. But as we get ready to return Samba style for MotoGP this weekend, it is an exciting time. We've got to look at the layout, the contenders, and what it means to go to a brand new circuit like this. Let's start, first of all, with the return. It's so important, isn't it, to go to South America, Sylvain, but to go back to Brazil, the biggest country on the continent. Yeah, we've been in Argentina for a while. We've actually had a lot of Brazilians used to turn up to that race in Argentina. But I've got a feeling like this is going to be a special weekend, isn't it?
It does feel like it's going to be big. You know, the social media activity around the race and the promotion of the race have been massive. So, it looks like there's a lot of people that want to go there. Goiânia as well. It's quite a biggish town. I think it's like 1.5 million people living there, and the track is really close to the town as well. So a great vibe. And obviously, you know, you got to remember when we used to go to Rio to that race, Neil. It was just such a massive thing. You know, great atmosphere. There was a few parties as well, wasn't it? It was good. But it's not going to be quite like Rio. You know.
I'm just looking at my wife. I have no idea what parties. I don't know. No, I mean, it's so funny. We said before we started recording, Gav said, "What are your memories of Rio?" And I'm like, I think I've still got a hangover. I mean, I can't remember. We had some big nights out, but it was a bit different back then. That was 2004, last time they raced there, and then literally the whole paddock was out partying on Sunday night, and it was big. You were there, Gav, weren't you? You
Yeah. I remember having a rather large night one night with Jeremy McWilliams and Simon Crafar. There was one. There were trousers being swapped left, right, and centre. It felt like one of the old school destinations, though, didn't it? Where the championship ended there a couple of times. I do remember finding one of our fellow TV presenters. I'm not going to name names. But it was about 6 a.m. asleep on a bench outside the nightclub at the end of season party. It was quite a wild old time that we had there. That was Rio, of course. That was the Jacarepagua circuit, just to the outskirts of Rio there.
Easy for you to say.
It wasn't the Brazilian Grand Prix. It was the Rio Grand Prix. There've actually only been 4 Brazilian Grand Prix before. 3 of them at Goiânia, 87, 88 and 89. Eddie Lawson, Wayne Gardner, winners in those. 1992, Interlagos, one-off race there.
Wow.
Famous for that was being the return of Mick Doohan.
Yeah, with his leg. One. Yeah. Like literally, do you remember his leathers? It was horrible watching him climb on board that factory NSR Honda. Like literally, he looked whiter than white. Remember how pale he looked?
Everyone, I remember Nick Harris, who worked with him at Rothmans Honda at the time, my old co-coms, and he said he was grey.
He was grey. It was horrible to watch.
Yeah, obviously that was Interlagos 1992 when Wayne Rainey won there, and that was so important because he had to come. Was it penultimate round of the championship? I think for Nick or something. He had to come back to try and pick up the points to
score some points
to get the title in. But we did race in Rio from 95 to 2004. Someone was out there in 1995 in the return to the championship, scored 11th place on a WCM Yamaha, a young Neil Hodgson.
Wow.
So he raced there twice, 95 and in 2004.
I didn't race in 2004. I was at the event.
You turned
up. There was not a lot of racing going on that absolute pile of shite. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to swear on this podcast, but it was. Sorry, I can't help myself. So there were no racing in 2004, but in 1995, I remember
on the 500 Yamaha.
On the 500. Do you know what happened? We got there, we turned up. The track was sketchy. It was really bumpy. It was really dirty, and it sort of played into your hands. Where as we've seen over the years, you go to somewhere a bit different, and it turned into being a bit of a leveler. you didn't, if you're on a factory bike, it didn't really make much difference. So I had quite a strong weekend that weekend. I remember that was one of those weekends where in any random practice session, I'd come in and I'd see my name and I'd be like, oh, I'm fifth, or, like weird, like, which you don't get on like when you turn up at a ref where everyone knows it so well. So yeah, I remember it. But big nights out with James Hayden. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's...
I nearly drowned there as well.
That's a write-off right there.
Yeah, I know. I nearly drowned because we went on the beach one time and obviously the waves were crashing in. And then next thing I'm in, and I'm swimming back to shore. I promise you I'm not joking. I'm not even trying to be funny. And I was swimming and I'm not a bad swimmer. And I'm swimming as hard as I could swim. And I am getting nowhere. And I'm like, and it's starting to go dark. Yeah, it was a mess. Anyway, to cut long story short, well, obviously, I didn't drown. I'm still here. But yeah, that was a scary moment.
Sylvain, you had a few races in Brazil, at Rio as well, 2001, 2003, and 2004. You were Cato's last ever win, actually, in 2003. You were 11th in that one. 2003, you were 4th in Rio, actually, in the 250 race there, Sylvain. But you mentioned it before about Brazil. They love the motorcycle racing, and Jacarepaguá was a strange circuit. There was sort of an oval around it as well. But one thing I do remember is the crowds turned up for it, didn't they?
Yeah. And the atmosphere in general, it was just, I don't know if it's Brazil or something like that. And maybe it's the image we've got of it, but it just feels like everything is a bit of a party. So the events themselves just feel very, very lively. And it feels like that's what we're going to get this weekend. So it'd be interesting to see how many people turn up at the track and what we get there, because they've obviously done a massive job around the track to make it suitable, for to receive the MotoGP Championship and to get large crowds as well. There's been massive work to do, not just on the track, but also with the facilities and the pit boxes and the grandstands everywhere. So yeah, it looks like they've made a proper effort there. So yeah, I think we're all excited to see, and it's genuinely exciting to go somewhere new. I mean, I like it. You get a new track. There's loads of things to talk about, and like Neil said, for many riders, when it's a new track like that, it's a chance to it is a leveler, and it's a chance to show your potential, especially for the new ones coming up, the rookies and so on. So I think it'll be really interesting.
There is one thing that an elephant in the room was the track hadn't been homologated. I think I still haven't had the official homologation come through. Obviously, it's going to go through. We wouldn't have got to this stage without it happening. But there have been a few worries, haven't there? First of all, safety-wise, about the facilities, that kind of thing. A few teething problems, I think, can be accepted. I think we learned that at Balaton, didn't we, last year? That there were a few bits that you sort of have this race. We are in a sport, though, where safety is the prime and the paramount thing, and at the top. And there were a few worries, weren't there? First of all, that we might not even get this race happening now.
Yeah, absolutely. But the fact that my flight leaves tomorrow, and I've seen lots of footage now on social media of the track. It's had a facelift. I'll give it that. It looks narrow, I'll be honest. The runoff at turn one, sort of, let's say from the aerial view, doesn't quite look enough, but it must be. Obviously there are the team will have been there. There will have been measurements will have been made. They will know the depth of the gravel traps, etc. So it must be. There must be enough runoff. So
we've seen a few flyovers, haven't we, with the drones and that kind of thing, and
it
you sort of get a feel for it.
Yeah, it looks a bit one line. Like I say, it looks a bit narrow. Passing might be difficult in MotoGP, but luckily we've got that long start and finish straight, and it looks a decent corner going onto it. So it looks like maybe a second stroke, third gear corner going onto it. So there'll be some decent top speed. So there'll be places to pass at least into turn one. The rest look difficult. It looks more like block passes, a little bit like we saw in Balaton. And actually, in Balaton, I know we give it a bit of a stick, but we had some half decent races, didn't we? So 3 races
were really good at Balaton, and we did criticize the track quite a bit during the weekend, and I still think it was the right thing, rightly so. But then the races turned out to be actually very good in the 3 categories as well. So yeah, said you get surprises with new places, and it'd be interesting to see. We've got that massive straight. We're going to get proper top speed. Actually, the top speed is going to be big. It's about 1 kilometer long. So let's say compared to some different tracks we've got on the calendar, that's like a similar length to Qatar, for example, and turn 14 to get into the straight looks a little bit more open than in Qatar. So yeah, we're going to see some good top speed. Then in terms of overtaking, like Neil said, it does look a bit narrow. But we could get some, dive bombs into turn 10 as well, because that's 9 and 10 is like trap braking for 2 corners for like a long time. I watched a few onboards, so that's going to be interesting. And then we're going to get many laps as well because it's short. It's quite a short track.
Yeah, it's 31 laps, isn't it? The MotoGP race. I was saying when you look at it, it looks a bit like Catalonia. Look at that. I've got it up in phone. This is if you're listening to this.
It does look
just
like
close your eyes and imagine the track of Catalonia. Don't look at my don't look at my search history as well. Just look at my phone.
Yeah, anytime something's going to pop up on your phone, that'll be a bit weird.
Hey, there's nothing worse, is there? Like genuinely, I've got nothing to hide. I'm happily married, but whenever Vic gets her hands on my phone, I'm nervous. Isn't it weird? And I have nothing to hide. I am 100% loyal. And just she'll go, can I just have a look at that? And I'll pass her my phone, and I'm like,
why don't we have a look now at your Instagram search history? Like, the main page. Should we have a look at that?
I think it's breaking up till then. I can't hear a word you're saying. Must for these rubbish headphones.
I say, Neil's gone. All right, well, never mind.
He seems to switch off his computer at that moment. When we look at it, it's going to take some cleaning up. That's going to be one of the first jobs, isn't it? When we get there,
because dirty.
Sylvain, when they did that test event, it looked like someone had been motocrossing around the racetrack, didn't it?
Yeah, really dirty, and it looked like one of those, not just dust. It looked like there's been some mud on the track. They've obviously, because they've done so much work, they would have had a lot of machines, going like off track and on the track and putting the gravel and making a mess. So, but that's what we've seen so far on the drone views. But hopefully they've had the machines to clean it all and power wash it and stuff like that, because it did look dirty. They had an event, like a national championship event. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and I've seen some on board of that as well. It did. I mean, the grip looked kind of okay, but it did look dirty. Problem is, if it's dirty, you're gonna get a track where it's even more difficult to overtake because the racing line is going to be narrow.
One line.
And so, hopefully they pay that. They made an effort with this.
There's one thing that stands out in my head is the last time. I don't know whether it's the last time necessarily we went to a new track, but India. Do you remember we were all not sure how that was going to be, and actually the track turned out.
Wow,
it turned out.
But the track in India. I mean, that was unreal. Was you there, Sylvain? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Of course you were. Yeah, you were there because I remember that's when all the Riders Revolt thing was going on.
Yes, everything.
That's another podcast altogether. But what a track that was. This, however, doesn't look quite the same. But I think when the grandstands are full, we've got the curbs painted in the Brazilian colours. It's supposed to be, like you say, a decent city. I think we're on for a really good weekend. I can't wait. I'm well excited.
The tales I've heard about the racing in there in the 1980s, how the circuit or the city, should I say, embraced it, and that is the point. We're not going to Rio, we're not going to Sao Paulo, we're not going to Brasilia, we're not going to Brazil's a huge country, as we said. We're not going to the main cities. We're not going to the biggest spots that people will know, the famous cities. We're going to an interior, and that's somewhere like that is where you tend to find that people take, when the championship like this goes to a place like that, they take it to their heart, don't they? You look at somewhere like Brno, for example, and I know it's the second city of the Czech Republic, but it is part and parcel of the fibre of Brno, and it becomes part because they're so proud that this world championship is turning up on their doorstep.
Yeah, it was like that actually in Argentina at first, wasn't it? When we went to Termas. They were so pleased, in the middle of nowhere, literally the middle of nowhere, but it sold out the first few years and the atmosphere was fantastic. So, Yeah, don't know anything about. Do you know? More importantly, do you know anything about the team hotel? I've not looked it up or anything. I've heard anything.
We obviously, because I know you insist on staying usually in the
5-star
suite. In the suites. So I think I'm in an Ibis or something like that.
Okay,
and we'll find out soon enough which palace you get lodged in. Who does it suit going here now?
Hey, we know, don't we? Who's it suit? Who's it going to suit? It's going to suit Marc Márquez, 100%. Do you remember when we went to Termas the first time and the track was filthy and he went out and like the first laps, he was like 3 seconds a lap quicker than everyone. They eventually, during that session, caught up to him, but maybe he's a different man now though, Marc. That was Marc of 13 years ago that just took a lot of risk all the time and just loved it. But what we've learned over the years, when the grip level's down, when there's no grip and it's a dirty track, he can use his skill, his talent, that obviously is his gift a little bit more than the others, and he usually has an advantage. So I'd say it's going to play into Marc's hands.
He does adapt quite well normally.
What will the teams be doing though now, preparing for it? What will the teams have in their armory to be able to make sure that they hit the ground running Friday morning for practice? That they're the ones that are instantly, getting the feedback from the circuit or getting the data they want. Because I can imagine setting up things like setting the gearbox, getting the ratio right, and all that kind of thing. These are all things that have to be done beforehand. But there's no information. There's not been a test.
It does have to. So essentially, when you go to a new track like that, it's a race against time. So it's a race against time for the riders to learn the track as fast as possible. So all the riders will spend time on YouTube, on the internet, trying to find onboard laps so they can get sort of familiar with the track, where to brake, the corner speed, and so on. And for the teams, it's all about trying to set up the bike or trying to come up with a team that's going to work straight away, from the first practice. Because the last thing you want is to have your bike completely, out of with the final ratio or even with sort of setup as well, as in like suspension, swing arm length, and stuff like that. You need to know a little bit what were you doing, and the more you know immediately, the less you're going to play catch up during the weekend. So it's really, really important. The teams, from what I heard, they get information from Dorna, so they've got like a 3D model of the track, and they can then work out, with the ratio of the corners, with the length of the straight, and with the distance in between the corners, they can work out, how much acceleration they're going to get, what kind of speed they're going to get to each corner, the corner speed of the corner for a given ratio. And so that gives them quite a lot of information to work with already with their simulations. We know they have like simulations, they can run simulations for their setup. And we know they do that quite a lot. It was actually an interesting chat that we had with Massimo Rivola at Buram, where they simulated and they kind of knew what was going to be roughly their race time. I mean, it's unbelievable. So the simulation took everything into consideration, like tire wear and temperatures and grip level going down and so on. So they will get there with a very good idea already of what's going on. So everybody's going to be some kind of window where the bikes are gonna work. There is some question marks though, like tires, for example. How is that going to work? What grip is going to be on offer? What is the track is going to be dirty or not? Is the tarmac going to be super abrasive or not? And so that is probably the biggest question marks. What kind of grip is going to be available? And what is the tire wear is going to look like? How are they going to have to manage the power to make race distance? 31 lap. It's a long way. So
question: I know they're taking the heat treated tire, but they're taking other tires as well, aren't they? Are they taking that there as an emergency?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
I think it's just
in case. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because the tarmac is new, and normally when a tarmac has been relayed and is quite recent, it can be sort of really extra aggressive. It can be quite bad when the oils have not popped up yet. Quite can be really bad. We've had it on some tracks where you remember Qatar, the first times we went to Qatar, the tires, especially the fronts, were getting completely smashed.
And the sand and the dirt creates graining, that kind of effect as well.
So you gotta, they have to make sure. It's obviously a long way to fly the tires then from France if they get it wrong. So they have to have like a sort of like a wide window with the tires.
Yeah. I don't know you. Sorry, Gav. I don't know how you two feel, but genuinely, I'm really excited because I feel like we've had a slow start to the season, having the first race and a couple of weekends off. Don't get me wrong. I won't be saying this later on in the year.
We're ready for it, aren't we?
Not now that Qatar, if anyone isn't aware of it, Qatar, the race that was supposed to be on the second weekend of April has been postponed officially now, and it will take place the week after Malaysia. So that's the 9th of November. It's meant, which I think is an interesting one, they've moved Portugal and Valencia a week later. So I think the 22nd of November for Portugal, the 29th of November for Valencia. I do feel for people who'd already booked the travel and sorted that kind of thing out. Hopefully travel insurance covers that, because I heard a couple of people talking about whether you get refunds. I don't know how that works. I couldn't tell you, obviously. But they've wanted to get this race away in Qatar. You have to bear in mind, having a Qatar race and the fee that they pay for it covers, a British Grand Prix, a German Grand Prix, all these ones who don't pay as much for their race, perhaps. So,
but here's one for you then. So this is how at the end of the season, I will fly out on the 28th of September for those flyaways, and I'm not going to come back. There's a weekend off in between Indonesia and Australia, but to come all the way back to then fly out to Australia seems sort of crazy. So I'll stay out. So I'll fly on the 28th of September to Japan, and I'll get home the 9th of November. Seriously, that's a lot for a lot of people. It's you're away from home for a
6-week stint, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So enjoy these moments whilst I'm quite happy and positive and looking forward to a race.
2 weeks back to back, isn't it? We go straight from Brazil to the USA. Then there will be a 3-week gap, so it's going to be another one of these lopsided seasons. I just wonder, from a rider's perspective, then preparing, does it work in some ways for Marc Márquez? I'm just thinking in terms of someone who's looking to recover from injuries. For me, Naldeguer does come back onto the bike this weekend. We hope. I'm not sure what kind of shape he's in. I've been sent footage of him walking on a treadmill and that, but and I saw on a bike. He was out riding a bike, wasn't he? Yeah, he was out on a Ducati World on a super bike, wasn't he? I'm sure I saw him out.
I'll tell you. Do you want to know how he's going to get on? He's going to struggle in his Sylvain.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for him. I mean, he's doing the right thing coming back, but Sylvain, you know what it's going to be like, don't you?
Broken femur. He's just I touch wood. I've never experienced it, but you see riders that have had it in the past. It just takes a long time to come back from that. So yeah, hopefully it takes it easy and doesn't make it worse. He can sort of get back in a rhythm. Such a shame for him after like a really promising season last year, and we're expecting him this year to be super strong straight away. And fortunately, it's hard to accept as a rider staying on like that when you see the other guys starting the season. You just want to get back on it as soon as possible. But hopefully he can recover quick, and probably, well, for him the not having Qatar is going to work quite well, isn't it?
Exactly.
And coming back.
That's it for him. For Marc Márquez, people who are recovering. The temperatures are hot there. It's 30 degrees Celsius plus. Rain, has been quite a lot of rain over the last couple of weeks.
Is it a rainy season? I saw somewhere that it was rainy season at the moment there.
Yeah, I looked at
quite a bit.
I looked at my forecast. It's supposed to rain, thunderstorm every day. So
but it probably a little bit more like we sort of might maybe get in Sepang where it rains for a couple of hours, an hour or two, but if it comes at the wrong time, anyway, it's just another factor, isn't it, to factor in to this weekend's action. Obviously, we're going to be on TNT Sports. We'll be on site. We'll be reporting straight from it. I'm heading out on Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. flight. Can't wait for that one, without a doubt. You're both flying because I get to go I'm on the cheap plane, and you two get to go on the private jet. So I'll see you there anyway, lads.
We might do. You'll recognise us because we'll look fresh, and you look like a linen shirt, Gav. You look like one of Michael Laverty's linen shirts on last year. What about them? They were a disgrace, weren't they? We love them.
He's had some stick. It was when he asked us about him, what do you think? And we went, oh, awful. And it ended up in the bin in our commentary box. He's
got some new ones this year. The one he had in Thailand was fantastic. It was really good.
All right.
Speaking to his tailor about that. Right. Let's make I know it's hard to predict from this moment, but let's maybe predict a winner then. Sprint and race winner at this point. Heading into the weekend, go on. We're going to look like mugs. We know we are, but I'm going to on the line, ready to be chopped.
I'm going to stick my neck right out there. I'm going to go. I'm fancying a Marc Márquez. I just feel like I don't know why. There's just something about him, and I don't know.
I'm surprised you can speak with Marc Márquez's appendages. Anyway, Sylvain.
No, what about you? I'm actually joking when I say that.
Oh, all right, okay.
No, I'm not.
I'm and we know you're not joking. We know you love him, and
that's all right.
But I mean, he's gonna do all right, isn't he? And he's fine. That's okay. I think.
And Sylvain's going to go Marco Bezzecchi because he won last time.
No, I'm not actually. Listen to that one. It's a bit of a risk because he's never won. Well, he's never won a Grand Prix yet. I think Pedro Acosta is going to do it. I think there's a great chance for him to do it this weekend because it's a new track. I think he trains a lot, on those like twisty, narrow little tracks with 600, and he's very good at it. And I think the fact that the track is dirty a bit and there's not much grip, and it is a new track. I think that's going to favour him. And obviously, I mean, he's on great form. He's on great shape.
Fair point.
ETM has made some progress with the rear grip, and they're more consistent doing the race distance, and he was competitive in Burham. So I'm going to go for Pedro Acosta. I'd love him to win as well. He deserves it, doesn't he? I'd love him to see him win.
Well, hang on. He has already won.
Well, it's a sprint. It's a
bloody race.
It doesn't count. But that's another
bloody race in my book.
That's another argument.
That's another podcast altogether.
Actually, we've never talked about that.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's another story. Don't get Gav on it. Gav gets really sensitive because he's an old purist. They should be racing on a Saturday.
So, Gav, you think the sprints shouldn't count?
There's debates. No, they shouldn't count. Look,
I was in like
anti-sprint.
In the
I'm
stats.
going to admit, I was anti-sprint, and you have to say they started well, but they haven't been the greatest, have they, over the last year?
No.
I do feel it takes a bit of mystique still out of the Sunday. I feel like there's a lot of times where it is quite similar. You know what you're sort of going to get, and I prefer that little bit of mystery. That's the sort of thing. We did have a suggestion, actually. We'll bring up in another Q&A from Nicola Golding, who was saying that she'd like to see the sprint result set the grid for the main race. We've got a question here from Jack Hammer. This is one for you. Could the likes of Yamaha have a better chance in Brazil? Let's show that again, actually. If none of the manufacturers have any data for the circuit, we saw Honda perform better in India for the same reason. So Jack, I will say, is an esports world champion, to point that for the UK. But
all right,
you wonder maybe not Yamaha because of just how far they are physically away from things. But a Diogo Moreira, I'm not saying he's going to win, but to have a much better than expected result. What do you reckon?
I think Yamaha is going to struggle. They're too far, aren't they? At the moment, it's the project is still very early on, but yes, we could see surprises. We could see, like riders looking at this as an opportunity. Like I said, Gav as well. Diogo Moreira, he's at home. She's Grand Prix. So
what a shame! It's his second. It's only going to be his second race. If this was
end of the year, would have been better.
End of the year, you'd be like, he could have a chance. So, it's a shame.
It's going to be a huge weekend, isn't it, for Diogo to be back at home? It's huge for the sport to be there. I'm not going to go for Diogo as my pick for the win. I would go for Marc, is what I feel, but I'm not going to say that because we've got to go a little bit different. I'm going to go for Bez then. If we've got a Marc, we've got a Pedro, I'll go for a Bez. I don't think it's a Bez. I don't think it looks like a Bez sort of style thing to turn up as well, to turn up and do it on a weekend. I think too many things tend to go wrong for Marco Bezzecchi, if that makes sense. But I'm going to go for him just because he's on
remember Balaton new track was Bez third Bez was on the podium in Balaton.
Yeah.
And also when we went to India, did he win the race in India? I think he won the Grand Prix in India.
Yes. But that
Yeah,
on the
so
chassis,
fair
wasn't
point.
it?
Sylvain's got a point.
He must adapt quite fast.
I'll stick with Bez.
So that's a good.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly what I was thinking. Bez.
Yeah, Bez.
Gav, what's the time code on this? Because Sylvain's he's had his first point. I'll give him that. That's the first time he's actually said something where I'm thinking that's probably going to be right.
That makes sense.
Mark this down.
That.
This needs to be. This is a
I hope
historic.
this recording
moment.
is working. Is it working? Yeah,
it is on. Finally, after a few goes at this. Right, we will leave it there for our preview. Hey, first things first. Oh, sorry, last things last, shall we say? We're all hopefully going to have a fantastic time in Brazil, aren't we? We're all so excited for it, and
100%.
It should be a fun weekend for MotoGP, and I'm looking forward to catching up with South American fans down there because they absolutely love. They get one chance a year, and they turn up en masse. Let's hope they do this weekend. That is all from us. As always, we would like your questions, we like your comments, we like your disagreements. Remember, you can contact us on Instagram at GasItOutPod, on there, on YouTube as well. We love all your input. We'll do an episode between Brazil and the USA. We'll probably do it on the road. We could probably do one. That'd be quite fun, wouldn't it? In person on the road. How about that?
Whoa. Wow.
Don't forget to take your microphone then, boys, with us.
Oh, yeah.
Or Neil will be doing it with those free headset that he's got there that came with his phone 5 years. When did you buy your phone? Was it 10 years ago that you had? Still an iPhone.
I don't have a contract. I'm SIM only. All right.
Right. Please do get in touch with us and maybe chip in to Neil Hodgson's headphone fund. But for now, we will hopefully hear you, or you'll hear us on TNT Sports over the weekend if you're in the UK. If not, we'll be back after the Brazilian Grand Prix. For now, have a great weekend, enjoy the racing, and if in doubt, gas it out.
That was good, that.